It's Eva Cartman, and you are listening to the Dream Big Podcast Show, the place to go to learn, laugh, and grow. Today we welcome neuroscientist David Eagleman, who is going to amaze us with the power of the brain. This is episode 50, Big Dreamers. You ready? It's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. I am your host, Eva Cartman. And today, I'd like to start with a special thank you to the newest members of the Dream Big Squad, Tina Salzberg and Jonah Bancroft, and all of their families. Thank you for supporting the Dream Big podcast. If you would like to become a member of the squad and get a special shout out from me on the show, then please head to dreambigsquad.com. Squad members also get access to a special commercial-free feed of the Dream Big podcast with all our past episodes and lots of cool other squad-only perks as well. I wanted to give a quick shout-out to the review of the week. This is from Smoochies987 and reads, "This is a superb show. Each new episode makes me and the kids want to tune to it more. Their guests are the most interesting people. Dana Wild and Black are my faves so far. I love Dana's personal mantra strategies the most. Eva is such a good interviewer." Thank you, Smoochies, for your review. Big Dreamers, please keep the reviews coming. My family reads them all, and we are so grateful to learn how much our audience is enjoying the show. Plus, reviews help keep us high in the charts on iTunes so we can attract amazing guests like David Eagleman, today's guest. For a limited time, we are actually sending out free personalized stickers to the Big Dreamers who take the time to leave an honest review. Parents, you can go to dreambigpodcast.com/bonus with your kids for the details on how to claim the free stickers. And I'm going to turn it over to my mom for a quick word from the sponsor of this episode, Kind Snacks.
Hey, Big Dreamers! We're so excited to introduce you to the first sponsor of the Dream Big podcast. You know how much we love you. You know that we bring only the best to our show. Well, that's why we chose Kind Snacks as our first sponsor. You've probably seen their delicious bars in your local grocery store, coffee shop, or gym. They make those yummy, healthy snacks using whole ingredients you can recognize and actually pronounce. My personal favorite is dark chocolate, nuts, and sea salt. And Eva's favorite is pressed mango and apple. Also, they have pineapple and banana kale that Eva absolutely loves and takes every day for her lunchbox. Well, if you haven't tried Kind Snacks yet, this is your chance to get them absolutely free. That's right, guys. You heard me right. We invite you to try Kind bars for free. You will receive 10 of them. And all you need to pay is for shipping. When you order the sample box, you'll also get to try Kind Snack Club, where you receive monthly snacks at a discount and get members-only bonuses. You shouldn't have to choose between health and taste when it comes to snacking, especially when it comes to snacking for your kids. Trust me, I know Eva is a very, very picky eater, and it's always a huge hassle what to pack for lunch. So I was very, very excited when we started working with Kind Snacks because this is absolutely no-brainer. Now I definitely know at least one thing from her lunchbox she will eat. This is the Kind bar. And we tried their 10 snack sample box, and the whole family loved the bars. As I said, my personal favorite was dark chocolate, nuts, and sea salt. And even our 2-year-old loved it. She ate banana, pineapple, and kale pressed bar. So they're very, very healthy, and they're gluten-free, low sodium, kosher, and made without genetically engineered ingredients. So it's no-brainer, guys. Try it absolutely for free, and you can pick sample box if you go to kindsnacks.com/dream. That's right, kindsnacks.com/dream. And we thank Kind Bars for sponsoring the show because, as I said, it's a perfect fit. We were choosing our sponsor for such a long time to find the best value for you guys, for our big dreamers. And we found the perfect fit with Kind Bars. Please be sure to use our unique URL so Kind knows we sent you and they will take special care of you. So thanks again, guys. Go to kindsnacks.com/dream. And now back to Eva.
Thanks, Mom. It is time for you all to enjoy an interview with David Eagleman. David Eagleman is a neuroscientist and a New York Times best-selling author. He is the writer and presenter of the international PBS series, The Brain with David Eagleman, and the author of the companion book, The Brain, The Story of You. He has published over 100 academic articles and books on brain science and will be sharing his amazing wisdom with us today. Don't forget, as always, we have show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/50. We will include links to David's website and everything we discuss in the interview. Without further ado, here's our interview with David. Let's roll the tape. Hi, David.
Hi there. How are you?
We're so excited to have you on our podcast.
Great. I'm excited to be here.
I'd like to start with your fascination with the brain. You've dedicated your life's work to this subject with articles, books, and TV series about it. Can you share a little bit about your journey and when you realized this was your life's calling?
Yeah, my father is a psychiatrist and my mother is a biology teacher. And so from a very early age, I was exposed to these ideas about the brain. And then it wasn't until later in college that I realized that's what I was going to do. But once I realized that that's what I loved, then I was hooked, and I've been hooked since that time.
Cool.
That's very interesting that
Yeah.
you said that how your parents helped you to shape your nowadays reality, right? So would you give advice to parents, like if they see something that their kids are interested in, what should they do about it?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing about parenting is just opening doors for a child. So, parents learn that they can't force their children to go down a particular path, but whatever the child is interested in, that's really the main job of the parents, is to give them swimming lessons and cello lessons and anything else, whatever the thing is, math lessons, whatever the issue is, so that the doors are being opened for the child.
Guitar lessons, piano lessons, and all of that.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
They did a great job, that's for sure. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this podcast, because your story and the things that you do is so fascinating. It's like from the future. When we watched your videos, we were
Definitely
thinking like, oh my God, we're in the future, and the future is here now.
Yeah. We watched
Good,
your
I'm
fascinating TED Talk about the reality that we are able to sense as humans and how that compares to other animals. Can you share some examples about that?
Well, I got very interested in this when I started realizing that other animals are picking up on other slices of reality out there. So, yeah, just an example is that the tick, for example, only picks up on temperature and body odor, and it constructs its reality out of that. And then the black ghost knifefish picks up on electrical fields and changes in those electrical fields, and it lives in darkness. That's its main thing. And for the blind echolocating bat, what it's picking up on are, air compression waves that are returning to it when it chirps. And, I started looking all around the animal kingdom at all these weird things. Snakes have heat pits by which they detect infrared, and other animals have magnetite, by which they pick up on the orientation of the Earth's magnetic field. And that's when I started realizing that the particular things that we have, like our eyes and ears and nose and mouth and so on, we sort of think that that's reality, the picture that it gives us, but in fact it's only a slice of reality. And that's what got me interested in this question of how can you expand the reality that humans have.
That's so interesting, and this actually brings me to advice for kids who are listening. Pay attention to what's happening around you, and you will find a lot of interesting things in the world. And some things can be different, but if you observe and you pay attention, it might lead you somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, while my dog Annie can't conduct interviews and have a podcast like I can, she can smell at a level that I'll never be able to do. And I read that a moth has the best hearing of any animal. So now when you see a moth, you can know that even though it's so tiny and it looks like it just hangs around by a light, it actually has the best hearing.
And it has a brain too.
Yeah.
Right?
Which we never thought of.
Exactly. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, David, thank
Yeah,
you for
that's
your
terrific.
work, because you're bringing awareness to things like that, and that kids and a lot of adults don't pay attention to sometimes. And your other TED Talk that we watched, and we'll link all the TED Talks in our show notes, so Big Dreamers, please check it out on our website. We saw, Eva, what was cool about that second TED Talk that we watched?
Well, we watched that you're in...
Created...
Yeah, they created...
part of
your lab created like
vest?
A vest for deaf people that converts sound from the world into vibration mapped across the vest. And the brain of deaf people can learn to use those vibrations to start feeling and understanding the language of the vest.
Yes. So, David, can you please share about that, and what's the concept behind this vest?
Yeah, so the idea is, what if we could feed other kinds of information into the brain beyond just what the eyes and the nose and the ears and so on are giving us? And so what we did is we capture sound in real time. We capture sound and we turn it into patterns of vibration on the vest. And as you said, deaf people can come to understand the world that way. And so this has been, you can think of it like Braille for blind people, but this is sort of a dynamic moving Braille on the skin. And the interesting part is, if you watch a blind person reading a novel in Braille, they can laugh and cry and experience the whole novel. And that's because the way that you get it into the brain, it doesn't matter, right? It can just be a series of bumps on your fingertip, and that's fine. It's the exact same content. And that's what it is with the vest, and why deaf people can come to hear through their skin is because all that really matters is getting the information to the brain. And all that your ears are doing, they're not piping sound directly to the brain. They're just converting sound into patterns of what we call spikes, which are little pops in the brain cell where they have, they send these little signals to one another. All your ear is doing is turning sound into these, patterns of pops. And that's exactly what the vest is doing with vibration. It's doing the same thing. And so deaf people can learn how to experience the world that way.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Then, in this way, people, and including kids who think they're limited in their abilities, they won't feel like they're limited. They will experience the world
definitely.
kind of the way that other people experience it. So that's very, very exciting news, and I'm sure that technology with scientists like you, David, work together on expanding and creating more. For example, virtual reality, right? For a lot of people with limited maybe abilities, it gives them a sense of that reality and gives them sense of the experience, so their body, their brain can feel it as well. So that's very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
I saw another fun video, it was really fun, of you online where you were putting different parts into a potato head to show the idea that the brain can adapt to new tools.
Yep, that's so cool. And I encourage all the parents to watch with their videos. It's a short video, but very cool, and explains exactly what David means by, but he'll tell us about it right now, right?
Yeah. It's essentially that the way that I look at eyes and nose and mouth and ears and all that stuff, the way I look at it now is like Mr. Potato Head, where the brain I interpret to be a general purpose computing device, and you can plug any kind of peripheral device into it, and it just figures out what to do with the data. So eyes are picking up on what's called electromagnetic radiation, and the brain just figures out what to do with that. And ears pick up on air compression waves, and the nose picks up on molecules, and so on. And the brain just figures out what it's going to do with this information. And so the reason I see this like a Mr. Potato Head is because I believe at this point that you can plug anything in, and with enough training, the brain will say, oh, okay, that's fine. It's this new sense, and I'm going to just incorporate that into what how I see the world. And in the next couple of years, I should be able to really prove this, because obviously we're pursuing deafness as a very clear thing that we can do. So the thing that's very exciting to me in the next few years is to be able to feed in new kinds of data streams. So in other words, not just sound for people who have lost their hearing, but feed in any new kind of information, whether that's Twitter or stock market, or a new dimension of smells, or a new kind of sight into people, or where a person can feel a whole airplane or a whole factory, or you can feel the otherwise invisible states of your body, like what your brain is up to and what your microbiome is up to in your gut, things like that. I'm very interested in seeing how we can really expand our experience of being human.
And that's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
You know what Eva even said? Eva, you want to share? She said, Mom, can you imagine if we would have eyes on the back of our head, and that would be cool, and so I can finally see what my baby sister is doing? And I can see that. But you know what, David? I think this is amazing news for intuitive people who've never been able to explain what they feel, how they get the information, right? And some other people thought, oh, they're just crazier. But a lot of people, and for our big dreamers, I just want to encourage you to remember the time when you, for example, had the thought about someone calling you, or you thought of someone's name or someone that you love, and they call you right away. It's like if you would send a signal to that person, and that person picked up and called. Or it may be opposite. You would feel the wave coming, right?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I actually think that doesn't happen, which is to say, what happens is you think about your friend or your mother or something many times a day that runs through your head. And every once in a while, what will happen is that person calls you, and then you think, oh, I knew it. I thought of the person, and then they called me. But what that overlooks is all the times that you thought about that person, and they didn't call, so then you forgot about that you thought about them. Mm-hmm. So as to the best that we can test and measure this sort of thing, which people have been doing for decades, there actually is no kind of secret signal that's moving around that's causing somebody to pick up on your signals and call you right away. It's just that we overrepresent when that happens.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, as you see, big dreamers, scientists have their own way of explaining things, and that's totally cool. And that's why it's so important to try new things, to experience new things, to be able to explain new things in a different way, right, Eva?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you would hear your kids saying something, and that would totally not going to make sense to you, but they had this idea and they can develop it into reality. So please pay attention to what your kids say, and please be aware that they will invent the next new big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
trying new things is important.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely. And also, I can tell you that I have a story that's related to this. I just had the most exciting summer of my life. My family and I went on this huge vacation to Hawaii for a week.
And then you went to?
And then I went to Krasnoyarsk and Moscow. First, I went to Moscow for my mom's work for 3 days. And then I went to Krasnoyarsk.
Yeah, so you...
And I stayed with my grandparents for 2 weeks by myself. And I just want to tell that if you try new things, it can turn out to be like.
Did that trip teach you anything new?
Well, it taught me to try new things and to speak new languages.
That was hard.
Yeah, that was the hardest part when I was there.
So, David, how can we encourage our parents who are listening to help kids to experience the world in a different perspective?
Well, a lot of my research has been about this issue and specifically about how it makes time seem to have lasted longer. So, in other words, this 2 weeks of traveling around for you, when you look back on that, it seems like, wow, that took a long time. I did this and this and this, and it feels like a long time since you were home, for example. Whereas, if it's just a totally routine kind of thing, then your brain doesn't really lay down new memories, because there's nothing very new to write down. And then when you look back on that period, you don't have much footage to draw on, and you think, oh, that 2 weeks went by very rapidly. And so it actually makes you feel as though you're living longer because you're laying down more memories. Your brain is doing more of, figuring out the world. So the really important part is to always be able to do new things and push your brain to experience new things, and therefore to expand its models and, write things down.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because, we talked with our guests a lot about like time management, for example, and the stretching time, and how can we make it feel like we're living in the moment. So that's all about that. So thank you, David, for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're almost wrapping up our interview, and
we have this middle questions called middle rapid fire questions. So it's just questions that we ask quickly and you answer quickly.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's get started. Mom, you can go first.
So, Dave, what are your plans for the future with everything that you're doing?
I want to figure out if we can really change the human species and have completely new kinds of senses.
Cool.
Do you have any daily routines?
Almost none. I try to avoid routines, actually.
Cool. Do they ever call you mad scientist?
No one calls me that. Happily. Yeah.
What are the things you do for fun?
I love to go hiking with my family and just do, new novel experiences with my family, and lots of travel.
And David, what do you consider is the best and greatest achievement of your life so far?
I think that would be this book of fiction that I wrote called Sum, S-U-M. And it's, I've written 8 books, and they're all, 7 of them are nonfiction. They're all books about the brain and books about science. But one of the books I wrote was a book of 40 short stories, and I feel like that's probably my greatest achievement so far.
Is there a good book for parents to read with kids, or if any book that you would recommend for kids specifically?
I don't think so. I think it's more of an adult book.
I'm giving you an idea. We want one. So maybe one day you'll
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they can develop love for science. So, David, if some of our little dreamers want to become scientists like you are, what would you recommend? What should they do?
I think a big part of it is reading popular science. In other words, the academic details, the day-to-day stuff can be very boring and intimidating. But what I think you want to do is find the popular science writing and television shows that turn the camera onto the big pictures. Like the big, unbelievably interesting questions that we're faced with. Because once people get into science, somehow that part starts getting lost and nobody talks about the big, giant reasons that you're there in the first place. So that would be my advice. It's not necessarily to go and take the hardest class and read the hardest textbooks and so on, but instead to just keep an eye on why it's an amazing question in the first place.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. When you have doubted yourself in the past, what made you overcome those fears and continue to persevere your dream?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just stubborn, but I just kept pushing and pushing. Actually, when I wrote this book of short stories called Some, I sent it off to a whole bunch of publishers, and I got a whole stack of rejection letters. And but I just kept pushing and pushing because I knew that the important thing in life was not giving up. So what happened is eventually the book got published, and then it became an international bestseller, and it got turned into 2 operas. And all these things have happened with it, and it's all because at any point along that road I could have given up, but I just I knew that things aren't always easy and that it's a long road sometimes to get where you want to go.
Big dreamers, never give up. Never, ever.
Yeah, that's one lesson that you have to know if you want to be successful.
Take action, and keep going. And know that there are a lot of people out there that will believe in your dream once it's out there. So keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, what would be the best advice?
I guess it would be something about not worrying so much about what I was going to do, because in fact, the world when I was 10 years old was quite different than it was by the time I was 21 and getting out of college. And so, one spends a lot of time thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And once you get into college, there's a lot of pressure to say, okay, this is what I want to be. I'm going to do this. And I think my advice would be just to not bother with that and not think about that too much. And adults will always ask you, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would just tell them, I haven't decided. And, ask me again in 10 more years.
Cool.
You have already made many of your dreams a reality, but if you look at yourself today, what would be your big dream for the future?
I'd like to win the Nobel Prize by demonstrating this issue about, really understanding how the brain constructs a conscious experience based on new kinds of data streams. That's my goal for the next 10, 20 years.
Thank you, David, so much.
Thank you.
As we said, we will link all the everything that you said. That was very, very interesting. All the TED Talks, all the things that you did, and definitely the video about Potato Head, right?
Yeah.
We'll link in our show notes, and we'll encourage our listeners to check that out. So, and the very last question is,
where can our audience find out more about you?
Eagleman.com. I think I have everything there. And, I made a series on PBS called The Brain. and you can link to a bunch of video clips from the website, eagleman.com.
That's awesome. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we
Thank you, guys.
want our listeners to definitely check it
Definitely.
out. And do a lot of cool things with your kids and find
Yeah.
out David's videos and try things at home. Think of the big picture.
And the only way to be successful is to dream big, take action,
Never give up.
never give up, and that's only when you can reach your goals.
And be curious and experiment a lot.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank you.
terrific.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Wow, that was literally a mind-blowing interview. David is such an incredible teacher, and we are so honored he came on the Dream Big podcast. Of course, I'll include everything we discuss in our show notes, as well as links to David's website and social media at dreambigpodcast.com/50. When you go to the show notes, you'll see a place to sign up for our Insider newsletter, where we send exclusive content, including a free audio that I made on my top 10 tips for making and keeping great friends. This audio is only available for those who subscribe, and I know this will really help you. So please be sure to have your parents join the newsletter to get it. And again, please consider leaving a review for the show if you're getting value from it. It really helps get exposure for the show, and we love hearing from our fans. Plus, if you go to dreambigpodcast.com/bonus, you can claim your free personalized stickers for taking the time to leave an honest review. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Eva Cartman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional. You need to make them essential. So take massive action and turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion, the way life is meant to be. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!